Welcome. This is the basics of spreadsheets using Microsoft Excel. Today we will cover the more common aspects of the menu bar and then briefly go over how to enter data, format cells, and other features necessary to make Excel more user-friendly. Sit back and relax, but feel free to take some notes as we go through this tutorial. And of course, feel free to review any parts that you may have missed or not understood. Microsoft Excel is set up as a table. Each column is given a name: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so forth. Each row is given a name: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it continues down. To locate a cell, or the small boxes inside of Excel, each one has a name. For instance, right here is 1A. This cell would be D2. You can select several cells at one time. A common misconception is since this cell is not highlighted in blue, it is not selected. But that's not true. Since the black border goes all the way around it, it is selected. So if I select from C2 to E8, you'll notice all of these cells have the black box around them. All of them have been selected. To enter information into a cell, first select the cell that you would like to enter the information in. You can then immediately begin typing. You will notice that the information that you enter will appear both in the cell and in the text box at the top of the program. For instance, I've entered first name. It also appears here at the top. If I select the E after name, I can go back and edit it either within the text box or within the cell itself. When I am done, I can hit enter and it will move me down to the next cell. Let's say I enter a cell with lots of information. You'll notice this information is entered in cell B2 if I type too much. When I select cell C2 and type something inside and hit enter, it appears to cover up the rest of the information in B2. All of the information is still in cell B2. To make sure that it's all there, I simply have to look at the text box at the top when I select B2. The size of columns can be edited so that all information appears. By clicking in the small divider between column A and column B, and I put my cursor directly over top of it, I can make a column larger or smaller so all the information appears. Let's make the column A a little larger. In addition, because I've typed so much into cell B2, maybe I want to make the entire column for B larger. We'll slide the information over so that all of it appears in B2. And we'll make C2, or column C, a little larger also. Rows can be made larger also. By selecting the space between two rows, I can make a row larger. Each column and cell inside of Excel can be given a name. For instance, column A is called first name. Let's name column B last name. We'll call column C phone and column D enrollment date. We can then go ahead and name each of our rows, making sure that we follow the information at the top of the column. So everything in column A needs to be a first name, and in column B needs to be a last name. So let's put in our first names. In Excel, if you select the cells you would like to work with, let's say I want to work with the entire row number 1. I can go to the side and you'll notice the arrow, click the arrow, and the entire row is selected. If I right click and go down to Format Cells, I can do a lot of formatting in one fell swoop. For instance, alignment. I would like these to be aligned in the center and then in the center. I can change a font. Let's say I want this in bold. I can choose a border, pick a style along the side. I like this thick, heavy line here, and I want it at the top. I want it at the bottom of row 1, and to divide each part within it. Patterns, how about we choose a color? Let's go with green, and then we'll click OK. You'll notice that all parts of column 1, or excuse me, row 1, are now have centered text and bold font. In addition, I know that every number that goes into column C is going to be a phone number. If I select this column, right-click and go to Format Cells, I am looking for a specific type of number. If I go to Special, I am looking for phone numbers. Every time a phone number is entered, you'll notice that no dash is in there. When I hit enter, it will automatically put it in there for me. I can go through and put in all of my phone numbers. The same thing will work for enrollment date. Let's say I enter a date for the first person. Most dates are entered in certain formats. If I do not like the format that's up there, I can select the entire column, go to Format Cells, click on Date, and select the date that works best for me. You will now notice that more information has been added to our Excel spreadsheet. For instance, a birth date has been added for each person, and more information going out to the side, but we're having trouble seeing what is actually in the top row or heading for each column. There are ways we can deal with this. Highlight all of those cells that you want to edit or free format. Right-click on them. Go to Format Cells. Let's go to Alignment. We want to wrap our text. We may also consider changing the angle of the text. Let's make it so it's vertical and click OK and see what happens. You'll notice that birth date is now able to be seen, but the rest of it is kind of cut off. So we'll make the column just a little bit bigger, and you'll see that we have Payment 1, Date of Payment 1, Payment 2, Date of Payment 2, Payment 3, and Date of Payment 3. Underneath Date of Payment 1, the boxes are filled with number signs. Why is that? Well, it's simply because the text that fills those boxes does not have enough room to show the information. We can deal with this in two ways. We can either make the column a little wider so that the dates appear, or we can select these cells, right-click, go to Format Cells, and under Alignment say Shrink to Fit. When we do that, the text shrinks so that it just fits inside the cell, but still shows us the information without the number signs to take its place. Column F represents payments. Therefore, each number should have a $sign next to it. I can format these cells so that they will appear that way. First, I need to select the entire column, go to Format Cells, select either Currency or Accounting. I will choose Accounting. I want 2 decimal places to appear for the amount of cents. Click OK, and my $sign will appear. Each time a new number is added, it will appear as currency. Another handy formatting feature in Excel is conditional formatting. For instance, first I'll select column F, go up to Format, and then down to Conditional Formatting. I want my cell value to be greater than, and we'll put in a number, 100. If it is, I want to format it to be a certain color. We'll say green. Click OK. I can add more conditional formats. If my cell value is less than 100, I want to format it so that it will be red. Click OK. So any number that's in those cells that is greater than 100 will turn green, and if the number is below 100, it will turn red. I do that, click OK, and the information shows up. Available to you in Excel is the Borders toolbar. If you click on the Draw Border tool and select the type of border that you'd want, you can separate out information so that person who is viewing your table or spreadsheet will be able to identify information very easily and separate it out. For instance, I might want all of the information for Payment 1 to be separated from Payment 2 and Payment 3. A simple border of a double line will allow that to happen. Also on the Borders toolbar is the Erase Border tool, which allows you to go in and erase borders that you've already created. And there is a Fill tool. If you select the cells that you want to color in, go up to the Fill tool, select the color that you want, and as soon as you do that, it will fill them in with a specific color. There are many different techniques in Excel you can use to sort data. If you go up to Data and hit Sort, a sort box will come up. Let's say we want to sort by last name first and then by first name. If we do this, it will first sort everyone by their last name and then by their first name. You notice that Abbott to Wones is listed, but it did not sort the first row, which is exactly what we wanted. Another way to sort data is to go to Data, Filter, and choose Auto Filter. Little drop-down arrows will appear at the top of each column in the first cell. For instance, let's say I want to filter by enrollment date. Hit the drop-down arrow, and I can filter by a specific date, or I can hit Custom. Let's say I want to check my enrollment dates for everyone before February. So I'll say before February 2nd, which should give me everyone in January, and they'll be listed. Let's say I want to filter them further by the amount they paid. Custom, greater than $76, which will give me everyone in the $100 range. I can go through my data very quickly and pinpoint those people that I'm looking for. When I am done with my filtering, all I have to do is go back and click on All to allow me to see everyone again. Another nice feature in Excel is you can hide information that you don't believe you'll need. For instance, birth date is not information I think I'm going to need for this spreadsheet. Instead of deleting it, I can simply make it go away or hide it. If I right-click after selecting the column, go to Hide, and that information will go away. You notice that a column E is still somewhere, I just can't see it. If I want it back, select the two columns on either side of it, right-click, hit Unhide, and the information will reappear. But let's get rid of it. In addition to hiding cells, there are two other ways that you can adjust your spreadsheet so you'll see only the information you want. To split cells, select the cell that is to the right of the section that you want to see and just below it. So for instance, I'm going to select cell C2. If I go to Window and then Split, I get 4 separate areas to my Excel spreadsheet. I always want to see my last name and first name, and I always want to see the payment information at the top. As I scroll, and if I had more people involved, I could scroll all the way to the bottom of the list and see what the titles were at the top of the screen. I can scroll to the right and always see the names of the person at the left side of the screen. When you have very large Excel spreadsheets, this comes in handy. Freezing cells is very similar, except you don't get the scroll bars. Once again, I need to select cell C2 because I want to keep my titles and my names viewable. Go up to Window and hit Freeze Panes. Now, the titles at the top and the first and last name information should remain. And as I scroll over, the names stay unchanged, and as I scroll down, the information at the top stays unchanged.